like Tabitha Brown
Woo!
says. Come on in
Yeah.
the room.
Now you guys haven't had the two of us to yourself in just, I don't know, maybe just a little bit. But we had a guest for you today, but we wanted to send prayers out. They are dealing with the recovery process of COVID. Unfortunately, their household was stricken by COVID, and so they're in recovery.
Yeah.
So we have rescheduled them for another time, but we thought, no way are we not going to show up for our peoples, right,
That's
Benicia?
right. Of course, of course. This is a highlight of our week. I hope it's a highlight of your week. It may be a little dreary outside, but we hope to come and bring some sunshine to your lives on today as we just kick back and, talk about some things that have recently happened. Hint, hint,
Yeah.
people going international, books being written. So, hey, Tanya, looks like we are getting some people in the room. We just want to give them a couple of moments, right, before you start talking about the goodness and the faithfulness of God. How you feeling these days?
Girl, I'm feeling good. I mean, there's just so much to be grateful for.
Yeah.
And, you know, I said I turned a corner with the first book I contributed to. It just kind of flipped a switch. And my
Yeah.
first anthology project, Courageous Enough to Launch, it kind of launched me in a matter of speaking. I'd already had the company going, but there was a corner where there was no light on, that the switch flipped and the light came on,
Yeah.
and I'm grateful for that because now it's on and popping, right? The reality of it, though, is what I want us to spend some time with today, because even with all of that, you can, and everybody's different. Everybody's way of processing things when things happen for you is different. Sometimes you'll get what the scripture says. It thinks Proverbs, it doesn't quite come to me the number, but don't be wary. I'm paraphrasing, right?
Okay.
In
Yeah.
doing good.
Doing good. Yeah.
Yeah, because all the great things happen, but then you get tired. It wears you out. So at the same time that I'm in celebration mode, I'm like, can I catch a nap for a second?
Yes. The behind the scenes work,
Yes.
all the things that you're doing behind the scenes. The book shows up, the podcast shows up, all is great, but no one knows, the late nights you stayed up and, the things you had to push through. So I definitely get that. Yeah.
Yeah, the same thing. I mean, you have your own pushing going too. You have projects that you're working on, and you're 9 to 5. You doing all this and working 9 to 5 too.
Yes. So, you have to know what season you're in, right? So that's very significant. Are you in a building season? Are you in a reflecting season? Are you in a season where you're taking things, off of your plate? I was just talking to someone the other day and we just bust out laughing because she was like, you just exhausted me by telling me everything is on your plate. I'm taking 3 classes right now. Like you said, I work full time. I have 2 podcasts. I still am a mother of, even though they're adult children, still. And working on my own coaching, launching my own coaching program. So we have a lot going on. However, I don't know. I wouldn't give it up for anything in the world. Like, I just believe that I'm where I'm supposed to be in this season. How about you?
I 100% agree. I wouldn't give it up for anything. The highs, the lows, all of it, because I truly feel like I'm walking out what God has for me to do. then I get the opportunity to sit with my coaching clients and realize the success that they're having and where
Yeah.
they are. I'm like, yeah, this is it. This is right. You
Yeah.
know?
But even in the midst of, hey, Brenda, thanks for joining.
Yeah.
What I found out is even in the midst of thriving, right, and doing what God has called you to do, it's still always room for like reevaluating, right? And so
Yes.
even though I'm in the midst of all of these things, He has definitely had me, with my own personal mentor, like, let's just reevaluate, your
Yes.
whys.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you feel it necessary to do A, B, or C, and give you some things to, think about. Sometimes you hit the ground running, you just want to get it done, done, done.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a season where God is like, I want you to reevaluate the things that you've been a part of. Some things I had to give up. Some things I'm still thinking about, like, okay, so in this next season, one class is almost done. So what are you going to do in that season? And what are the things you can work on when you are juggling all these different things, like discipline and time management and things of that
Mm.
nature? So how about you? How do you feel? How do you juggle multiple businesses and, your coaching and your podcast? How do you do that?
Woo. That's a
Ooh,
good question, Venetia. I
ooh,
breathe. Um, by God's grace, honestly, if I had to pick an answer, it would because it's not me. I
mm,
mean, it's honestly not me. I
mhm,
can't say that I'm pulling all of this off. People,
yeah,
sometimes somebody will have to tap me on the shoulder and say, haven't seen you in a minute and bring me back
yeah,
because you put your head down and you get to work. And
mhm,
I make sure to stay in God's face.
mm,
But I think sometimes he might be the only one that sees me outside of my work. And
yeah,
that's it's tough to balance it all and be present for the people that you love. I
mm,
admire that about you. There's been several times when I've said, let's do this, or how about that, and
mhm,
I'm catching a flick with my daughter,
mhm,
or we're gonna go do this and shop
yeah,
or whatever. And I love that about you because you
um,
actually you put that time aside.
mm,
And it sometimes, for me being here, me and Romeo,
yeah,
it was different when it was me and Mom and Romeo. We would get into
mhm,
some things. But that's why
yeah,
this past weekend I took some time and disappeared and went
mhm,
walking I went in the mountains and went near the creek and things
mhm,
that relax me, because you
yeah,
have to take some time and
so true.
talk to dad and balance your life a little bit.
That's so true. I think we talk about this all the time, right? Is intentionality. And I think
Mhm.
sometimes, I used to frown upon scheduling things, like let's just say even time with my daughter. However, people are into quality, not necessarily just quantity, but
Mhm.
quality. And so when you do have multiple responsibilities, sometimes you have to do that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I put my daughter in my schedule. For a while,
Come on.
everybody knew Friday nights was my family night. So Friday nights,
That's right.
I'm going to spend because, one thing I realized, and I seen something on Facebook this week, and it was so powerful. You really have to make time for those people that really love you, those people that are in your corner, those people that cheer
Yes.
you on. And so, like you
Yes.
said, we can get so caught up in the goal, right? What sense does it make? The Bible talks about, what does it what is the
Given a
scripture?
man
Yes, to
in the
and,
whole
and
world
lose
and lose his
and
soul.
lose his
Yeah.
soul, you know what I mean? And that goes
Mhm.
with anything. Like, what am I pursuing and what is the purpose? And while I'm pursuing this, am I neglecting some of the most important relationships that I have in my life? Because, I could get straight A's in school and be failing at home, or I can get the promotion and really don't know my kid's favorite color. So it's really, like you said, in learning, that balance and what's important.
Yes.
What I want to ask you, Tanya, is do you think at times you can put too much on your plate? And then how does humility work in that sphere when you really have to look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm doing too much?
Yes. You definitely can do that. And I know I've shared with you on a personal note. For me, I know my triggers now. You get to know yourself, and if you listen to self, it's easier for you to be honest with self, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I learned a few years back that when I have too much, I stop moving.
Mm.
That's why that saying that I always say, you know me for, is the blessings in the movement.
Yeah.
It has more than that meaning for me, because I stop moving when I'm overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
That means everything stops. That
Mm-hmm.
means, the stuff that will normally bring me joy stresses me out.
Yeah.
That's when I know something's off, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now I am prepared to pull back
Mm-hmm.
and assess things and remove things
Yeah.
and talk to Daddy and say, is this really part of what you want me to do, or is this something that I added because I thought it would be a good thing to do?
That part right
Yeah.
there. That part.
Yes.
Sometimes I
Yeah.
ask myself, like, who signed me up? And my daughter would be like, you. And I'm like, you're right. You're right. I think that is, such a good point. And I think it really takes humility to be honest with yourself. Because what I've learned is you can't do 80 things and do them well. Like something is falling through the cracks,
Yes, ma'am.
and it's a difference between doing what I want to do or what God has called me to do, because anything that God calls you to do, He graces you to do it.
Yes.
I found when I put things on my plate that I wanted to pursue and I wanted to accomplish in the wrong time. Like, for instance, I'm in school now, but I tried to go back to school when my daughter was younger, and it was a disaster. Like, I'm trying to do my homework. I'm trying to help her with her homework. I was going to Liberty at the time, which has a really heavy workload. I was working full time, and I could tell she was kind of acting out, right? Somewhat, because I didn't have that structure, that attention that I used to give her. And so I had to lay that down. That was hard, because I wanted to pursue it when I wanted to pursue it. However, now, guess what? She's 19, living her life, doing her thing. My son is grown and out the house, and I can do homework all day, all night if I want to. And so it's just being able to trust God in the seasons that we are, and knowing that delay doesn't always mean, denial.
Yeah, that's really good. Delay doesn't always mean denial, because we're such a microwave society. We're always thinking, we need to get it done now. We need to move right now. Oh, God gave me this. I need to do it right now. Yeah. But did you stick around for when He said when? Because sometimes He'll tell you when.
That's right.
And maybe, you didn't hear the part that said, well, finish what I gave you last time first.
Ooh, that's good.
And then move, and you have, like you said, you have to be real. You have to have a level of emotional intelligence to say, well, I can't do that right now. I can do it in the strength that God gives me, but the timing, the season for it is not now.
Right.
And until you have a conversation with Him, you sit still in prayer, do you realize that you're not supposed to move out on that at this very minute? You plan and give it to Him to find out if that plan, like somebody came to me recently with an opportunity. I think you even heard the opportunity.
Yeah.
And it sounded so good, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was an opportunity. The dollar amount sounded right. The people I would be engaged with sounded great, but my spirit said no.
Yes, so powerful.
You know, my spirit said no. I told you global. I
Mm.
told you global. That's what I have for you this year. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
why you keep saying that word over and over and over?
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And then look what happened with the book,
Yeah.
international seller,
Mm-hmm.
not just seller. So staying true to what you hear it for a reason, but you
Mm.
then
That's so
you can't,
good.
just what do they call it? Shiny. You can't always go after the stuff that sparkles and
Mm.
glitters.
Yes, yes. Everything that glitters is not gold.
Isn't gold.
That's true.
Right.
Yes. I think that's such a good point, right? Because if we don't walk in the discernment of God, then we can really attach ourselves to people, things, and opportunities that
Mhm.
really isn't going to suit who God has called us to be. And a matter of fact, in some seasons or in some reasons, even in my own life, not really hearing God,
Yeah.
um not really even asking God, like, is this opportunity what you would want me to do? So, I love that scripture that says, lean not to your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge God, and
Mhm.
and he will direct your path. And so
Yeah.
I think that's so important. It's a trust factor at the end of the day. If God isn't teaching me
Mhm.
anything else, he is teaching me. It's a trust factor. So because it hasn't happened yet, are you going to go off and do your own thing? Or to your point, Tanya, are you going to stick to the script? Because I gave you one, a
Yes.
personal one, and the Bible. Because the Bible,
Mhm.
it gives you instructions, right? And then in
Yes.
your quiet time, when you have a personal relationship, that's where the instructions come. And the other thing you said that I thought was so powerful is, like, God has promised us many things. I know for sure, because we circle in the same spaces, that we've gotten prophecies over our life about what God is going to do. Listen,
Yeah.
if we weren't careful, if we didn't use wisdom, we'd be
Yes.
out here moving and shaking, probably in
Mhm.
things that it's just not time. It's not time for. I've ran across people recently that said it was 16 years before the promise came. It was 20
Yes.
years. It was 10 years. God gave it to me on this day and it manifested on this day. And so, to your point in being a microwave generation, I think
Mm.
we have to be so in tune with wanting God. I'm in a season of my life that if it ain't you, God, I don't want it. I don't want to
Yes.
be there, right? I
Mhm.
don't want to miss it. And of course, we're not perfect, but I'm not gonna miss it intentionally because I'm not doing the work. Or if I
That's right.
feel because sometimes I could feel God calling me to do something, and my flesh is like, I don't want to do that. But then I have to deal with that, right? So I have to be
Mhm.
honest and say, Lord, why am I
Yeah.
bucking against
Why is
that?
that?
Why
Yeah.
why am I feeling that? Why is this uncomfortable? So we could get to the deeper
That's
issues.
it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, that's really good. And when you stay we talk about the power of the push, that's what we
Mm,
named this broadcast.
yeah.
When you stay on course, you build momentum.
Oh, I like that.
When you
I
stay
like
on
that.
course, it's like running track.
Yeah.
Um, when you sway left or right, you slow yourself down.
Yes.
So if you go off course to do something that God doesn't have for you to do, you delay your
Yes.
blessing. You
Yes.
you kill your momentum.
Mm,
So you have to think. You have to think carefully. Whether thinking for you is prayer or fasting or whatever,
mhm.
you have to take a moment to say,
So
is this what I'm supposed to be doing?
yeah.
And if it isn't, can I afford to slow down? Because you're always going to have the free will. That's a
Hmm.
gift to us.
That's right.
I love you, my child. That's why I have given you the gift of choosing. I've given you the gift of
Yeah.
deciding and making decisions, free will. But with that, to much is given, much is required, right?
Mhm.
So when I think about what I'm going to participate in, there's much more to it than the post that Venetia share or things that I put out there and you're like, oh my goodness, look at what Tanya's doing. There's stuff going on behind the scenes. There's
Yes, for
there's
sure.
sacrifice,
Mhm.
for you to complete your degree. There are many sacrifices that are being made.
Many.
And,
Yes.
so the contractions continue.
Mhm.
Then
Mhm.
the water breaks and birth happens, right? But
My
you still got to
gosh,
push. The baby just don't
you
pop
do.
out.
You do. And you have to push past, I love that analogy of the baby, right? Because making
Yeah.
the baby generally is fun. It's good, right? Um, and then, depending on your body and your pregnancy, for me, I was extremely sick, like my first and second trimester, right? And so then you have this beautiful baby, like it's all worth it, but there were stages to it.
Yeah.
And so we talk about aborting, pushing through so you don't abort the promises of God. And I love
Yeah.
Candid talking about people who see the end result but don't see the things you had to push through. Sometimes we're, like for yesterday, for instance, it was my mom's birthday, and my mom has been deceased for, I think we're on year number 8, if I'm not mistaken. And so I know I'm going to see my mom again. Like, there is no doubt that I'm going to see my mom again. Listen, I
Yeah.
know that my mother is in a better place without a shadow of a doubt, right? I know, like, she is not in any more pain and all of that. Like, I call them the
Right.
Christianisms. Like, I know them all. Like, you can tell me, I know the scripture, I know the verse, you know what I'm saying? I know all of that. However, I'm still human. I'm still a
Yes.
daughter. My mother and I was extremely close. I didn't wake up like I'm gonna slit my throat because my mother is like, no, I didn't wake up like that. But I did wake up thinking I have so many good things going on in my life that I would love to share with her. I have
Right.
some days that aren't so good that I still would like to share with her because she just had a way of encouraging me and making me feel, so good. So I did have to make a choice in all of that. Did I think about the great memories? Absolutely. But it's
Yes.
okay to be honest with yourself. I miss my mom. That doesn't make me weak. That doesn't make me less
No,
than
it
because
doesn't.
I'm a believer. It makes me human. But what
Exactly.
I love about God is that you can tell God everything that you're feeling, where you're at, what you're doing. And yesterday, Tanya, it was so amazing what God does. Like, he is such a balanced God. So when you pour out, he pours back in. I think when we
Amen.
keep it in, even if you don't want to tell other people, but it's between you and God, he
Yes.
ministers back to you. So I had a group to lead last night, and I just was like, sometimes you're just not feeling it. And we all know that we don't walk by feelings, we walk by faith and all of that. But sometimes you just don't feel like it. And I just I didn't feel like it. But I didn't
Yeah.
just stop on my feeling. I asked, I said, Lord, is this something that I should do? Is it okay for me to maybe take a break on tonight? And he
Right.
said, no. What better way to honor who your mother was and what she taught you by showing up and teaching the word and talking about the goodness of God. So
Mm-hmm.
my point is, we have to be honest. I was able to take
Yes.
that to him, lay that at his feet. This is how I'm feeling, but I'm not going to make a decision based on how I feel. I'm going to come to you and get your instruction. And
Yes.
I taught the class, and you were in the class, and it
I love
was
it.
so amazing. God
It was.
showed up. He filled my cup. I hope your cup was filled. And I felt like 1,000 times better. But what if I would have just stopped at how I felt?
Yeah. And we can't, and that we all would have missed out. We all would have missed out. And I think that although it's painful, I think the value that you just expressed is what's on the other side of the pain.
Come
That
on.
baby's face, that feeling after the class. The
My
other
God.
side of the pain is so much better.
So much better.
And the courage that it takes, the courage and the stamina and character that it takes to push through the pain,
Yeah.
the blessings are so much bigger. You
Yes.
know, just so much bigger. So, I mean, I admire you for that. And to be honest with you, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I love the episode that we did. We pre-recorded because we had some other scheduled things come up, but the
Yeah.
show that we did with Dr. Nicole Peters.
You talking about pushing through?
Yes, believe in your dreams.
Yes.
You know, so it's just so important because when you're, even when we both talked about not feeling like it. Okay,
Yeah.
you a little to yourself.
Yeah.
That's like selfish, right? But to have life beat the crap out of you, like literally, you have no more to give. And then we're talking about somebody else maybe beating the crap out of you, or your job tearing you down, or something where you physically have nothing left to give and you decide to push through anyway. You know, you hold on to the fact that it's got to be better than this.
Yeah.
And you press forward.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother level. That's called leveling up.
That is leveling up. And we recognize the common theme between Dr. Nicole, myself, you, is that we couldn't do it without God. There is no, without God, I wouldn't be sitting in this seat today. Let me just be straight up and honest. Yeah. All the things that we all have encountered, we could have lost our minds, you know what I mean? Or took our lives, you know, because of the pressure. But God makes the difference. And we want you all to know that, like, God makes the difference. Sometimes I have to pull on the Holy Spirit. You know, I love my mentor because if she hasn't taught me anything, honey, she has taught me how to pull on the Holy Spirit, who is our help. We need him. Tanya, talk a little bit about, before we, you know, talk a little bit about Dr. Nicole and our watch party that we're going to play. Let's just talk about, you're talking about pushing through dreams, you know, and you have multiple businesses, but now you are a multiple author who has gone international. Talk about the push through with the book. Like, did it just come to you? Did you just sit down in one setting and knock it out? Or was it a process and you had to keep reminding yourself who you are and, you know, that your story isn't about you?
Yeah, it definitely was a process. And for some reason, for the second one, the first one was such a release, but for some reason I waited and waited for the second one to like sit down and write it. And I think it's because of honestly how impactful the first one was that I was like, what's this gonna do? But my chapter in the second one is about listening to God. Ultimately, the chapter is called The Whisper. Did you hear that?
Wow.
And a lot of times we miss that.
Yeah.
And so I'm so grateful that in this season of my life, and it's taken a minute, that I've learned how to listen. Now, I'm not going to say I'm perfect. I'm not going to say I always move right away on what I hear, but I'm attuned to it.
Inclined. Yes.
Yeah. And in listening, it's helped me to kind of orchestrate out what's going on right now, because it's only God's grace that's allowing me to be on different platforms and start to speak more and start to recognize that I bring value and how
Mm-hmm.
much that value is,
Mm.
right? Even as a coach, to be able to charge what you're worth, what your experience
Yeah.
demands you charge, and do it unapologetically,
Yes.
because no, God has equipped you, and what you bring to the table is valuable. For me, the journey has been amazing, and it's not over yet. I have another book coming out
Mm-hmm.
in the end of next month,
Yeah.
and here's what I want to do, if God will allow me and use me to do it. And he's nodded his head in so many different ways, but I want to make sure that every woman finds in themselves the power and the authority that they were born with, because
Mm.
it took me a long time to
Mm.
not only see mine in the distance, but actually grab a hold of it,
Come on.
start to walk in that authority and that power.
Yeah.
Um, you have a right to be at the table.
Yes.
You have a right to be at the table. And I tell you what, if they're not making room, if there is no place setting for you, then you have the right to create your own table.
That's good.
And that's what I want every woman to understand. You are valuable. You bring value.
Mm-hmm.
And this world would be better if you walk in your purpose.
My
You're
God.
actually causing someone else to not realize what God has placed in them, because you possibly might be the light that they've been looking for all this time.
My
You
God.
know, so I didn't have the right to sit back anymore.
Mm.
So whatever I participate in, the next book next month that's coming out is called Women Crushing Mediocrity.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it's about. No more. I
Yeah.
need women to understand that they need to say to themselves, no more. It's time for
Mm.
me. And it's okay that it's time for me. And I'm
Right.
going to do it for me,
Mm.
God's way.
That's so powerful. It's powerful because your motive, right, isn't I want to be a bestseller, even though you are, and nothing's wrong with that. We're not going to apologize for that either. However, your motive isn't that. I hear your heart saying, listen, I'm certain number of years, right? And if I can help somebody get it way sooner than me, I want you.
Yes.
I want you to. You know what I mean? It's never too late. So you could be older than me, but the Bible says older women pour into the younger women. So if you can get someone at 25 to grasp the concept that we're getting in, our later age, our seasoned age, how amazing is that they can run with it, and so we just want to encourage you, no matter what your age is. That was really on my heart this week in prayer, just
Yes. Yes.
feeling people's hesitation and just frustration regarding, like you said, I'm just getting this. God, I'm just learning this. I just grasped that. And God is saying, in me, there is no just. It's a lot of individuals in the Bible that really didn't begin to walk in their calling till their older age. So we have to know in God. That's what I love about in God and in his kingdom. There isn't retirement. You know what I mean? There isn't all of these restrictions and legalities. What it is just hearken and obey. When you hear
Yes.
me, do what I tell you to do. And women like you and your story help women like me who may have had some apprehension, who may have walked in fear, rejection, all of those different things that will cause you, like you said, to not believe that you have a right to be at the table. And in doing this and ministering the way we do and the different platforms, we see women who show up every day. I've been one of those women. You look good on the outside, like you got it together, but in the inside, you really don't feel that worthiness and that wholeness. And that's what this platform is about. That's what our coaching business is about. Because once the light bulb comes on for you, you like, I have to
Right.
somebody else. I have to pass this forward. I have to reach back and go
That's
get some
it.
of my homegirls, some of my friends, some of my family members, and tell them that it's a better way, that no matter what you've gone through, you have worth, you have value, and there's a purpose, a plan, and an audience that's just
Amen.
for you, you know?
That's
Yeah.
That is the truth. That is the truth. And you know, I felt so passionate about that, and just the walk that I'm on. That's where our clubhouse came from, having a confident,
Yeah.
you know, because I honestly feel I am walking my comeback out right
Yes.
now. And it's
Yes.
just so critical to me that every woman that's sitting on the side going, oh, well, one day I'm gonna,
Mm.
I say to you, why not now?
Yeah.
You know, that's where enough is enough comes from with me. So why can't you have your confident comeback right now?
Mm-hmm.
Who's keeping you from that but you, right?
That's
So
true. That's right.
I I grabbed a couple of and I say a couple, but there's more than a couple of the best and the brightest, most amazing women to lock
Yes.
arms with me and
Yes.
create a clubhouse. And now we're leveling up
Yes.
and we're creating a mastermind.
Mm.
And that mastermind kicks off on May 20th. And it is a 10-week powerhouse of a mastermind called the Confident Comeback Mastermind. Some of
Mm.
the best and the brightest women that
Yes.
I know are going to
Yes.
be there to tell their comeback story
Mm.
and then share with you how they pull themselves up in whatever area of expertise they're in: media branding, storytelling, all of it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
finance, health, the
Mm-hmm.
whole shebang. So I can't wait.
Yeah.
Registration's going to open for everybody on Monday. So I'll
Mm-hmm.
probably do a big announcement then, but I can't wait for
Mm.
the Confident Comeback Mastermind. It's going to be incredible and
Yes.
people's lives are going to be changed, you know?
Amen. Yes, yes, yes. So amazing when you say yes. You know what God does with the rest, you know, and you're not gonna
Mhm.
always know all of the answers. You know, that's what I'm learning in this process. That Benicia, you can't always dot all your I's and your T's. You can make plans, but you gotta allow me to order your steps, you know, because perfection sometimes will
Ooh,
cause you to stay stuck. You know, R.C.
yes,
Blake says, you know, let's trade perfection for progression. How about that?
yes,
Let's just
I
be
love
let's just make progress every day, you know. For a long time, perfection had a hold on me. And it's a miserable feeling to always think you gotta have everything always in place. Everything has to be, you know, all thought out and well put together. Do we walk in excellence? Absolutely. Do we want to be
it.
excellent? Yes. Do we want to represent God? Well, yes. However, faith and perfection is not a good mix, because you can't, when you step out on faith, guess what? You don't have all the answers. But what we
Yeah.
do want to focus on is that we serve a perfect God. Come on. Okay.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He is
We
so
serve a
very
perfect
perfect.
God.
And we're very blessed with this podcast and the people that we've had share with us. I mean, when I
Mhm.
think about even in the book projects that I've been on, and they've come and they've sat on our platform and
Yeah.
shared, those sessions have been some of the most poignant interview
Mm.
sessions we've had because of the transparency of all those women, you
Yeah.
know. And then we've had some power couples come on, and you guys, we just have so many great things planned for you. We're coming up soon on our 100th episode, and so
Wow.
we're going to celebrate with you guys, and we have some special things planned. But we just want to take a minute to say thank you.
Thank you
And
so much.
yeah, we know that you sometimes catching this episode, for the majority of the time, a lot of people catch replay because
Mm-hmm.
we're in a spot on Saturday that's kind of busy and summer's coming, right? So
Yeah.
people are out and about. but you still come through. You play the replay, you let us know
Yeah,
you're there, and
that's right.
we want to do for you, and we couldn't do without you.
Yes, for sure. And guess what? There's no stories of triumph, right? Without the people. I think I've been blessed, and I know you've been so tremendously blessed, not just by our guests, but our viewers who will text us, who will message us, who has really, like, some of these stories have really changed people's lives. And that kind of blows my mind. I can think of
Girl,
individuals that have gone to see a therapist because of, one of our guests. I've known of people who got their finances together because of someone who talked about, that particular subject. Women who begin to learn how to self-care because of what was said. So I just am overwhelmed and overjoyed that we get to do something that's so positive and so
yes,
uplifting and so encouraging, in a
yeah,
world that has so many things going on that we could be distracted by and discouraged by. And although we're going
yeah,
to stand in the gap, of course, we're going to pray. Of course, we're going to show up practically and do what we can. But at least there is somewhere that you can tune in on a Saturday and know that I'm going to leave here with something that I can take away that will enhance my life, that will build me up in a world that can tear me down so easily if I keep focusing on what I
yes,
don't have and what I'm not doing, and comparing your life with someone else's life. Here we are so big on be authentically you. Do what God has
yes.
called you to do. Run with your
Unapologetic.
vision, big,
Yes.
small, tall. Own it and kill it.
Push,
Your
y'all.
lane.
Push. Mm-hmm.
Stay in your lane and do what God has called you to do. We believe in you, but we
Yes.
want you to learn to believe in yourselves.
That's
Yeah,
so true. So good. So good. Believe
yeah.
in yourselves.
You got to believe
Um,
in yourself.
rise and shine. That's
Yeah.
just like the title says. We need you to get up and shine.
And
And not just for
shine.
you, but
Yeah,
for
yeah. And I think that's what Dr. Nicole did, as
you.
we play this watch party. I pray that, it's a blessing to someone, because she is the epitome of push. She is the epitome of not allowing circumstances and situations, even that she got herself in. Some things, we have no control over. Others are choices we made, but either one, God died for them all. And so he
That's
pulled her
right.
out, and has got a fire under her that is blazing,
Come on.
trailblazing, trailblazing. So we pray that you will enjoy this segment. And we look forward, right, Tanya, till next week when we'll have a new guest and a new story.
Yes, so true, so true. We are super excited about
Yeah.
where God is taking Arise and Shine, and
Mm-hmm.
really the what He's working individually in our lives as well. So we're excited about coming together as a
Yeah.
strong force, but also making an impact individually. And guess what?
Yes,
Supporting and uplifting each other. That
absolutely.
that's what's
Yeah.
critical. Like you said, no competition, just collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
And we're surrounded with
Absolutely. Yeah.
we're
That's so
surrounded with
good. It feels so good to have your sisters like cheering you along. I know
Mhm.
that I'm gonna write a book one day, but just because you're on your third book don't mean for me to be like, oh my God, Tanya is written her book. Let me get her book. Let me get my no, I'm gonna be led by the
Girl,
inspiration of
you just
the
got me all
Lord.
excited when you
You
spoke that
know?
out. I
Yes,
can't
of
wait for your
course.
book.
Of course. And it does encourage you. So when you're around people who are moving and shaking, it encourages you to say, hey, you know what I mean? Am I really doing what God has called me to do? Am I running with it? Am I being lazy? Or is it a season or timing thing? But never, okay, well, she did it. Now let me know. And we just encourage each other. I
Mhm.
thank God that We really, really, really love each other. We want to see each other prosper. We help each other in any way that we can. And I just think that's what it's supposed to be. Listen, when you know you're enough, when you know that you're enough, you know, it took me a long time to get there, but when you know that you're
Come
enough,
on.
listen, you can celebrate anybody. I see a whole lot of people, things manifesting for them that I'm still waiting on. But I promise you, I made a decision. I'm gonna celebrate till my time come. I promise you,
I
I'm
know
gonna
that's right.
celebrate till my
Yes,
time
and I
comes.
know, and I promise you that I will continue to lift. God
Yeah,
is not done with me yet, and there are
yeah.
many a days when I call on my sisters,
Mm.
and you know they underpin me,
Mm-hmm.
blood and otherwise.
That's
They
right.
underpin me
Yeah.
and push and help me push. And I've never given birth to a child in real life, but I tell you what, I watched enough Lifetime movies to know that when you know somebody is always sitting there with that mother when she's like, I ain't pushing no more. This
Come
hurts.
on.
And they say, come on, you can do it.
That's right.
Come on, girl, push one more time.
Yeah,
Come on. You
that's
know,
true.
and you the woman always looks like she's ready to cuss him out, but guess what she does?
Yeah.
She pushes again.
Yes.
Anyway, you
That's
know,
right.
and I have had that. I have had that. I am blessed to have that in my life. And
Mm-hmm.
I insist on being that for
Yes.
all my sisters and every woman that I meet. It you better not let me see the head. I'm telling you right now, because if I see the head, I'm gonna make you push.
Yes.
I'm gonna make you push. There's been books, there's been businesses, there's
Mm-hmm.
been good health, there
Yeah.
has been success and victory
Mm-hmm.
come out of a rise and shine and the
That's so true.
experience.
Yes.
And I bless God for giving us the opportunity to be a part of something so special.
Mm.
Um, that I mean, there's not much more I can say about it except y'all hang in there, because when it's your turn to push, Benicia and I will be right there for you.
Amen. Yes, 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 yes. Excited for 2021, taking it one moment, one day at a time. Um,
Yes.
but living intentional and living out loud. I just been hearing that all week. Like you gotta live out loud, you know,
Yeah.
laugh, enjoy life. Don't take yourself so serious. It is so much going on, and I get that. I'm not taking away from anything that is
Right.
going on in all of our lives. I promise you, Tanya and I have a scroll of things that we can talk about. But what I've learned is it's a decision, it's an attitude of gratitude. It's an
Yeah.
anyhow, despite what's going on, I'm going to trust God that it's going to get better. It's going to get better.
It does. It does
Yes.
get better. I mean,
Yes.
even I know, just even bringing this up could potentially keep us going for a few more minutes, but just to see um, what happened with the case with George Floyd.
Absolutely. Justice being served, accountability. What do you think
Mhm.
about that? I seen so many posts like this isn't justice. This is accountability. I was like, wow,
Mm,
that's something to think about, you know. I can see it both ways, you know what I mean? Yes, it
yeah,
is accountability, and justice was also, you know, served. What do you think about that?
yeah. I think for me, I posted about hope and justice
Mm,
because, for me, it was I'm almost a part of my heart said, I know I'm not crazy.
mm-hmm.
I know that I'm not crazy to have hope in a world that is the way it is,
Yeah.
that there is hope. And then the other side of that was justice was no longer a cliche. Justice
Mm-hmm.
is now a verb. Justice is something that's acted out. Justice is
Mm,
something movement and a
yeah.
result. This is now
Yeah.
a verb. And
Yes.
yeah, that was kind of where I was. I mean, I I had tears of joy for sure when I watched it. You know,
Absolutely. And I love that so many people were involved. And what I mean by that is like, even my daughter, she wants to be a criminal prosecutor. So she knows more about so many things that's going on than I do. But just to see her excitement was like, whoa. And, that week, my son, um, I think it was like a week ago or so, he had got pulled over by
mm,
several cops for a brake light. So it's not something that we're just talking about high level, right? It's something that we have to deal with on a regular basis. And so
for
for
real.
me, I
Yeah.
often have to fight, right, that fear that tries to come to, my mind. Even, as he was telling me the story, and I was thinking, for a brake light, most people don't know their brake light is out. I've been pulled over for a brake light, but why would it take 4 or 5 cops
Right.
to pull
Right.
you over for a
Yeah.
brake light? But that night, Tanya, I had to give God some for real serious praise. You know why? Because I could have went a whole different way. And
Yeah.
so,
That
as
way left.
believers, it's so important for us to stand in the gap for our children, for our nieces, for our nephews, all because you just never know. I cover my kids every single day. I had no clue he had got pulled over. I had no clue it was 5 police cars. You know what I mean? And I was just thanking God because as we can see, whether you're innocent or not, some people didn't make it out of that situation. And so it was real to me. It was real to me to
Yeah.
finally get that accountability, and like you said, the hope isn't in the system. Our hope has to be in God, that Lord, you are going to vindicate us, that you are going to
In
repay
this world.
evil, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because we can't do it. We can't repay evil for evil, but God said, "Vengeance is mine." And so, that's why I serve Him. Where else? I feel like the disciples, like, where else is there to go? What else is there to do? I couldn't even imagine not being in a place where I could pull on Him to protect where we're not and what we can't see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it keeps us humble too, because you just said that, and for some reason, God just brought to my remembrance the fact that when He was on the mountain with the disciples, and there was time to feed all these people,
Yeah.
they were like, "How are we gonna feed all these people?"
Right.
They forgot. They forgot His power. They forgot
Right.
who they were with. And if they
Yeah.
can get and walk with Him through miracles every day,
Yeah.
um, then yes, you can extend yourself some grace to slip. It can slip from your remembrance, but pray,
Hmm.
pray, pray that you will
Yeah.
soon recognize who you are attached to,
Yes, for
because look
sure.
what happened. So
Mm.
yeah, if you forget for a minute how
Yeah.
great God is, just ask Him to make it evident to you that much
Oh my
more, make
God.
it you so much quicker next time, that you will never slip again. But we are human.
Yeah.
Peter slipped. Was it John that slipped? He had to actually put his hand through the hole to we sometimes, Thomas, excuse me, it wasn't John, it was Thomas.
Yeah.
We sometimes forget, or we sometimes need stuff to be proven to us.
Hmm. Hmm.
Know that we should have faith for this reason, but we are human and we sometimes forget how great God is. That's why
Mm.
you have to pray continuously, because
Yeah.
He will show Himself evident. He will show, and I believe He showed Himself evident this week. You know,
Absolutely.
things
Absolutely.
He will, and that didn't come out as polished as I wanted it, but it came from my heart that
That's right.
honestly, we're going to slip sometimes, and we're going to forget the majesty that we were born under. We're going to forget the
Mm.
power and authority that we have.
Mm.
But if you stay in communication with Him, and then you keep
Hmm.
people around you, like Reverend Deacon Dr. Benicia, right?
Not Reverend Deacon and Doctor. I can't.
Yeah. Dr. Peters and all the doctors we've had on the show, Dr. Bridget
Yes.
Leonard, and all the ones that aren't doctors but should be, you know, keep those people close to you in your life so you recognize that the cops are not God.
That's right.
Right? And that there also are cops out there, heck, they're in my family, that are not like this gentleman's name that I don't remember, and probably on purpose, but they're all cops aren't bad.
Yeah. You
know, all cops aren't bad, but just follow after the King, y'all. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Just follow after the King, and that hope in him will prove
it's in him. It's hope in him. And like you said, sometimes it gets a little low. Like I had to go to God several times within the last year, or incident after incident. Like, come on, Jesus. Like I know you on the throne, but come through for us. But that's what he wants us to do. We have to petition him. And then the practical, like, what can we do? What can we do? How can we come together? Which we've seen a lot of that, you know, rallying and, you know, just speaking out. A lot of what I saw, even in my own organization, was amazing. Like all walks of life, ethnicity, shades, all of that come together and have some really hard conversation, some very honest conversation, practical tools. And so, you know, I believe in prayer. The power of prayer changes things. I know that, you know, faith without works is dead. So yes, we do have to do something. But I can say that felt really, really good to be able to exhale.
Yes.
Breathe.
Yes.
In that particular instance. So, hey, Sabrina, we see you out there just accommodating. She says accountability is acknowledgement. Justice means just us. We have to acknowledge actions. That is so true. And y'all know I'm leaning in because I refuse to put these glasses on that I need. But you know, I'm working on embracing that. I'm working on it. You'll see my specs from time to time. But thank you so much. That's so true. You know, we need accountability. We need people to be accountable for their actions. And that's across the board. That's us. That's them. And I think it would just be a better world as people are held accountable. People think twice about what they do. That's for sure. And I pray that we continue to see more of that.
Yeah, we will. I think there's a shift taking place.
Yeah.
Sabrina said, "Okay, Diva, wear those glasses."
I know. I am.
Yeah, I have my specs on, right? You can still be cute with your specs.
I'm giving in. I'm surrendering it. Yes. But yes, we see you. We appreciate you for always joining. And
definitely. Please definitely share this broadcast. We covered a lot of ground. I something in my spirit I couldn't leave without talking about that, because it's just so ironic that the very way that he was taken from us is the very action that everybody had when the verdict was announced.
So true.
Yes,
God. Yes. God is on the throne. It may not happen when we want it to, but my God, he is faithful. He is.
Well, we definitely send prayer and strength and healing to the Floyd family and all the other families.
Listen, DMX, just so many. Did you hear? I think his name is Shock G. It's like so many individuals. Remember the Humpty Dance? He passed away this week. Like, oh my God, the young lady that was, the young teenage girl that was shot. It's like, my God, I said, Lord, as soon as we get over one, then here is another incident, you know? So that's why.
Did you hear about that? It just
Yes.
horrible. Road rage. Road
Horrible.
rage.
Horrible. That's why
So
we
yeah,
have to stay in a posture of prayer. We just have to.
yeah,
We have to. So much
most
going on.
definitely.
Yes.
And I just saw that our guest that was supposed to be here this weekend was actually taken to the hospital. So we just
Oh
want
my gosh. Lift her
definitely
up.
lift prayers up and lift her up in
Yes.
her healing, that
My God.
COVID and
Touch her body.
remnants of that will leave her
Mm,
body, Father.
mhm. In the
Just
name of
keep
Jesus. Yes. Touch her body, God, right now. My God. Listen, be
it's
careful.
crazy.
We
Yes, people.
understand that the world is opening up. We understand that vaccines are available, but that doesn't mean that we get to still just be, irresponsible or just unnecessarily doing things. I know over the past couple of weeks, multiple people that have been diagnosed with COVID. It's not
Yes, ma'am.
gone. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's not. So we still have to be wise.
yeah,
Everybody's comfortability level is different. So, do what um you feel God is leading you to do, no judgment for people who want to take it, who don't, all of those things, your um personal life. However, just make sure that we're not living from a selfish place and acting
yeah.
like it still does not exist. It does.
It
It does.
definitely does. And
Yeah.
I've heard from cases of people that don't even know how they got it.
Yeah.
They don't even know, but other people have been, they just went to work with symptoms because they figured it was just a cold
Yeah.
and infected other folks.
My
And,
God.
that word selfish, you we just ask you to think of others.
Yes.
If not for yourself, there's been families wiped out just because one person came to a meal and because they didn't want to not be there and took the whole family out.
The whole
So,
family.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, you have
family.
to make those decisions. I thought I have a older uncle and a aunt, and we do holidays together all the time. This year we didn't, and my thought process was I'd rather have you here for the next 5 holidays
Mm.
than to show up with this one and something could happen. You know what I mean? So again, you going back to talking about that microwave, I want it now. I just want to do what I want to do. Um, think, use
Mm.
wisdom. Think about the long haul. Think
Yes.
about the future. I want to give birthday parties and all kind of different things. Heck, my daughter
Yeah.
didn't even have a real graduation from high school. You know what I mean? Very small and very intimate, but I'd rather have her here and see her through college and marriage and all of those things than to, just insist on having to celebrate her in that manner. So, just be careful. We love you. No judgment. We're not telling you what to do, how to do. That's between you and Jesus, but use wisdom.
Use wisdom. Yes.
Use
That's
wisdom.
it. Use wisdom.
Yeah.
Well, I guess, we could sit here and talk on the couch for, I don't
I
know,
know. I know. Just
love
rapping,
spending time
rapping.
with you guys, just hanging out. But we would encourage you, take a look at that episode. We'll start the watch party after we sign off
Powerful.
here. Very powerful. And
Powerful.
we'll be back with another great episode next
Yeah.
week.
Yes.
And I look forward to seeing some of you in the clubhouse and
Yeah.
at the Confident Comeback Clubhouse. And oh goodness, we just a lot of different things going on.
It
The
is. Tanya, how do
mastermind,
they find your book? Is it out? Yeah, I mean, of course, I got
the,
mine yesterday, but
yes,
or was
the
it
Kindle.
Thursday? Thursday, yeah.
A lot of people jumped on that Kindle deal, which is awesome when that comes out. And then the book itself, I'll be making an announcement next week when
Okay.
the soft copy
Okay.
when the soft copy
Awesome.
drops.
Yes, because I'm still
Yep.
a paper girl, so I want the book in my hand so I can
I
feel it and
understand.
highlight it and all of those good things. So I will definitely be placing my order for sure. And an
Awesome.
autograph copy.
Yes, ma'am. You'll
Yes.
get it. You'll get
Okay.
it.
All right. Well, we're
we
so
love
proud of you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
Yes,
you.
yes, yes. So proud of you. But yes, we love you guys, and we'll meet you same time, same place next week. Be in the room. We'll be here. God bless.
God bless.
Bye.
Take care.